It is not every day that I get to come on here and talk about my least favorite thing about my city. If you can't tell me, I'm a little bit excited to talk about how much I cannot stand these summers here in Phoenix. That is right. We're going through the worst parts about living in Phoenix during the summers. And I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not going to hide anything I can't stand about it. I'm actually looking forward to telling you my least favorite things about living in Phoenix over summer. I mean, to be honest, it is crazy that anyone ever settled here. Like when you think about it, when you think about the settlers that were moving here across countries, you know, they traveled all the way from the East Coast. You'd think as soon as they hit a summer here and it was 120 degrees and their animals are dying and they don't have water and all their meat went spoiled, you'd think they put a big X in a circle right through the map telling you to never live there again. Because when it gets to 120 degrees, no one in their right mind thinks this is a great place to live. Yet here we are in a massive city growing like crazy, just hosted the Super Bowl, had the busiest airport in the world for one day. People are here like crazy, and it's kind of shocking to me that it ever developed, but we're here, and people are living here. I'm living here, and people are living here because they really like it, and they're not leaving here. And so I want to warn you, if you are living here, here are the worst things about Phoenix during the summer. Before we get started, I always have to pitch this free Moving to Phoenix guide. I moved here about 6 years ago. This is everything I wish I knew before I moved to the Phoenix area. It's 100% free. If you're thinking of moving here, I'm a realtor and this is my free Moving to Phoenix guide. Just send me an email. It is on the screen there. So what I want to do with this video is talk through two different things. What are some changes that happen in your lifestyle when it hits summertime? So what do we have to do differently here in Phoenix when it hits summertime, and what should you prepare for? And then also just some tips of things that could go wrong that you should know ahead of time before moving here that would be helpful for you to know. Things I wish I knew about a Phoenix summer before I got here. So let's get into that. All right, so what is Phoenix summer? I mean, it's hot here year-round compared to everyone else, but really our summer, I'd say, starts probably early to mid-May, and then it goes until early to mid-October. So that's about a 5-month span where it is summer here. And when I'm saying summer, I'm saying probably over 100 degrees, or at least probably 90 to 95 degrees on the low end for most of those days. Really, it's not until end of October, Halloween, where we're seeing maybe under 90 degrees a few days. And then in November, that's when our weather starts to get really good, where you're wearing shorts and a t-shirt, playing golf in 80, 85 degrees over the winter time. It's pretty amazing. And so in those months, July and August really stand out as the worst months of Phoenix. I mean, that's the time. If you want to know if you can survive a Phoenix summer, come in July or August. That's when temperatures do tend to get over 110 fairly regularly. Sometimes we hit that 120 mark, but 115 is also fairly common here. And it's hot. I mean, there's nothing fun about it. There's no way to sugarcoat 115 degrees. You step outside, it literally feels like the heat just smacks you in the face. You come from 70 degrees inside to 115. I mean, that's a 45-degree difference. It hits you in the face. It is crazy how hot it is. Now, those months are a little unique because of how hot it is. I think it kind of messes up the weather patterns. And we get monsoon season between July and August. And if you don't know what a monsoon is, those are our crazy rain and windstorms. It basically feels like a hurricane, but there is no tornado happening, and we aren't near the water. We get crazy amounts of rain and crazy amounts of wind. They're very unique, though. They're really unlike any other storm. You know, normal storm, it comes through, you see the lightning coming, the rain comes, and then it passes by, you know, maybe a few hours later. Monsoons move very quickly, and in my opinion, they kind of come out of nowhere. So my first experience, I went into a grocery store, and it was literally sunny outside. I mean, the sun was shining, blue skies, it was getting to be evening. I go inside and I'm hearing something on the roof. I come outside and it was crazy. I mean, there were shopping carts flying across the parking lot. Like, not flying, but going 10 miles an hour because of how crazy the winds were. It was lightning everywhere. Rain was pouring like crazy, and I'm in shorts and a t-shirt, not expecting a monsoon to happen. I'm in 115-degree weather, expecting to come out to that. The monsoons happen very quickly, and they're pretty aggressive. I mean, if you drive on the roads after a monsoon, you usually see trees that have fallen into the road. I mean, you want to have your house fairly protected, make sure things are inside during monsoon season. You don't want things to blow away. You see trampolines blow away. There's tons of lightning as well. It's pretty fun to watch. If you're in a safe spot, you can go watch the monsoons. It's a fairly enjoyable time, but monsoons are very unique, and they happen in July and August. Those are our hottest months, so most people enjoy the monsoon because you get some rain, you get some wind, kind of get to cool off. but they are fairly unique, and there's something you have to know that that's coming. And what that also brings is humidity. Yes, Phoenix is known for its dry heat, and it is dry 95% of the time. But those days that we get monsoons, that day and the day after, I mean, we just got so much rain, it's going to be humid in the area. And when monsoon season is really strong, or we get a lot of them, it tends to be fairly humid here, which people don't expect. I mean, just a few years ago, we hit some like rainfall records, and we were having mosquitoes in our backyard. We never have mosquitoes here because it's not wet enough for them to survive. But we had so much rain that it was so humid enough that these mosquitoes could survive. So yes, July and August, they are the hottest months in the Phoenix area. You see temperatures over 110 fairly regularly, and you really don't want to be outside during those months. And then also it is monsoon season during those months. When it comes to lifestyle changes, the first thing that changes is you are inside more, and you're kind of forced to be. Your body tells you to be inside more. It's like a known saying that you go from your air-conditioned house to your air-conditioned car to your air-conditioned work. So your lifestyle changes in that you are inside much more, and you kind of, what Phoenicians do over summer is they go from their air-conditioned house to their air-conditioned car to their air-conditioned job, and when they get to their job, they complain about their 30-second walk and how hot it was going from their car to their job. So that tends to be the life cycle of a Phoenix resident over summer, is you go from everywhere that's air-conditioned, and every time you're outside, you say, wow, that is ridiculously hot. And no, your body does not ever adjust to 115, 120 degrees. It is always hot. No matter what people say, 115 is enjoyable for nobody, and no one looks forward to it. But you adapt to it. In my opinion, I'd rather walk out in 115 than have to wake up 2 hours early and shovel snow in my front yard. So, hey, it's neither here nor there, but you pick your poison, I guess. Other lifestyle changes is you don't do as many outdoor activities. This is fairly obvious, but very popular things in Phoenix, like hiking, like mountain biking, like playing sports outside, those tend to slow down. Now, amazingly, high school sports like football, they still pick up somehow in August. I don't know how those kids survive out there practicing football in 115. You better have a lot of water. And maybe those guys do eventually adjust if they're out there enough. But those are some major changes that happen. And if you're going to do those activities, I would say try to do them in the morning. So you can still go hiking, you can still go outside, play some tennis, play pickleball, play basketball, but do it when the sun is not up. And it's coldest in the morning. So really like 6 a.m., 5 a.m. is really ideal. Because even at 8 p.m. at night, this is one thing that shocked me. It could still be 100 degrees at like 9 p.m. at night. I remember walking outside of a gym. I'm all sweating, ready to go outside, ready to cool off a little bit. And it was 100 degrees. 100 degrees at 9:30 at night. I did not know that was possible. It's almost like the air is hot here in Phoenix. So it does not cool down. That is something you have to know. Yes, the temperature drops a little bit at night, but it's not going to be super enjoyable to go outside even at 9:30 or 10 o'clock. You also start to see a lot more casualness in even the workplace over summers in Phoenix. It's not uncommon to see someone wearing a short sleeve and sometimes even, shorts when you go to work. Phoenix in general is a fairly casual city. You don't see a lot of suit and ties, even in professional settings. And then when you get to the summertime, you'll see even less professional settings, especially if people aren't meeting with clients. I mean, at my job, I'm in shorts and a t-shirt, hoping to not see anyone. And even if you have to wear jeans, it is hot in those jeans. So shorts and a t-shirt is actually somewhat normal and even considered professional. In the same way, if you're living in Minnesota and you're wearing a giant puffy winter jacket when it's negative 10 degrees, that wouldn't probably be considered professional, but everyone knows, hey, it's super cold outside, and here we say, we know it's super hot outside. It's okay to be a little unprofessional in this crazy weather. But what we do see is that things go on as normal. Life does not stop when it gets 115, 120 degrees in Phoenix. Yes, it's miserable to be outside, but jobs continue as normal. Even construction workers, you'll see them working at 2 a.m. in the morning because that's the only time they can survive working. They try to be done by like 10 or 11 in the morning to make sure that they don't hit those brutal times of heat. And those guys that are working at like 2 or 3 p.m., I don't know how they're surviving. They better have plenty of water on them. And that's just one piece of tip, is you should always have water with you or be in water. That's kind of a great saying to live by in Phoenix. If it is summer, you should either have water or be in water, because if not, you are probably going to be dehydrated and have a chance of overheating and have heat exhaustion. My wife is a nurse here in Phoenix, and she gets a ton of people over summers with heat exhaustion. That is a very common thing. She's an ER nurse, so she sees those extreme cases where people did something stupid, like try to hike Camelback, our hardest hike, at 1 p.m. Of course you're going to overheat. Even if you brought tons of water, there's still a good chance that you could overheat. So have water on you at all times, even if you're doing something small like going to the store. I would recommend it. If your AC goes out in the car, you don't want to be in a car that's 115 degrees. So now a few things to prepare for. That was kind of the lifestyle changes, but some things that you probably don't know because you probably don't live in a place that gets to 120 degrees. Some things you should know about our summers that just are helpful to know and to prepare for, that are your daily life activities. And the first thing is your car. So getting in a car that's probably been sitting outside or even in your garage. I mean, garages get extremely hot, but sitting in your car where it's 120 degrees is not enjoyable. So one thing you must have on you is a sunshade, and a reflector sunshade is the best. That actually shoots the sun away. And if you don't have tint on your cars, definitely get that. Even just having the back seats is good enough, or it can really help lower the temperature in the car. And whenever you get in your car and it's 110 outside, your steering wheel is going to be ridiculously hot. I mean, you cannot touch it. I've even seen people wear gloves to touch their steering wheel. And now if you have the sunshade, that's definitely going to help, but there's even some different, covers you can put on a steering wheel to not be so hot. Black leather, not a great choice, especially for your car interior. If you have black leather, I mean, you can live with it, but just know it's probably going to be really hot. You probably don't want to wear too short of shorts, or your hamstrings are going to be burning when you sit down. Keeping with the car, sun damage is obviously easier to happen over here in Phoenix because we have very few clouds in general year round, and especially over summer. If you got the sun beating down on the top of your car, you're going to get sun damage easier. So if your car is going to be outside for extended period of times, just be smart with it. Main thing, I would recommend waxing your car once a year. If you can do it twice a year, that's even better, but waxing especially the top of the car so that you don't get that sun damage. Obviously, that's going to hurt the value of your car, so don't want that to happen with you. And your car battery is going to go out quicker, just the heat. It burns the battery quicker. I don't understand the science behind it, but on average, it's about 2 years. I learned that the hard way my first year here. I'm like, I bought this battery last year. I thought these things last like 5 years. Not the case here in Phoenix. 2 years is the average lifespan of a car battery. So some of them actually have like 3-4 year warranties. I would probably get those warranties because there's actually a good chance that your battery dies before then, and you just get a free battery because it's still in that warranty period. Now, some things about your house. So your windows, very important. Where does the heat get in? It gets in through your windows. So that is where the heat's going to come from your house. Obviously, you want your attic insulated, but the windows themselves, dual pane is always going to be best. And there's some crazy high-end types of windows. I don't know the exact science behind them. I just know dual pane is going to be best, and there's $5,000 dual pane and there's $100,000 dual pane, which I'm sure block it out better. But if you don't have the higher end ones, you can do other things like just get the sun screens behind them. These are kind of like black shades where you can see out really easily, but you can't see in, which means the sun gets blocked as well. So it doesn't really block your view. It does a little bit, but to block out the sun, it's helpful. So if you have dual pane windows, if you have sunscreens, and then if you have some sort of shade that's going to block it as well, all those things are really going to help keep your house cooler and keep your AC bill down. So one thing to know, it's $195 on average for electricity here in Phoenix. That is over a 12-month average. So what that means is your AC bill in December is probably going to be like $80 or $90 because you are in such great weather. You're probably in 60 to 70 degree weather. You barely have to run your heater or your AC. Whereas in summer, your bill's probably going to be over $300 if you're running your AC a normal amount. And so you want to do some things to not have to jump that AC bill. Having good windows is one. Using fans is another. So fans cool people down. Don't just leave them on all day. Just turn them on in your rooms. That's going to cool you down a ton more. I would recommend that, especially if there's only 1 or 2 people in the house, then dropping your AC down to like 68 degrees. That's going to be so much electricity if you keep it that low. I haven't done this myself, but I've heard it's effective where you can run your AC actually early in the morning. So like I said, like 5 to 7 a.m. It's going to be much cooler in the area and not put as much stress on your AC unit. So if you have good protection on your windows, your house is sealed up basically, you could run your AC and get your temperature fairly low, maybe to like that 68 degree mark, and then set it to whatever number you're used to. So we set it around the 75 mark in my house. I know that sounds really high for some people, but when you go from 110 to 75, it feels amazing inside. And so when you have it set to 75 degrees, it's going to take a while for that 68 to catch up to it, and it may not be until the middle of the day or even towards the end of the day. So you're not running your AC while it's extremely hot outside and kind of put extra stress on that AC unit. Jump that bill up. And then lastly, just a common practice, just try to run your main appliances and stuff like that. Try to do those on off-peak hours. You'll have to check what the off-peak is for you. I think it actually is different for whatever plan you have for your electricity. And in terms of yard work, I would not recommend doing yard work in the middle of the day. I tend to do mine at like 8 at night, so I would rather do it at like 5 in the morning, but mowing your lawn a little loud, I don't want to wake my neighbors. So I tend to do my yard work at like 8 p.m. I have this floodlight, and it's still hot outside, but it's much more bearable if you're just in shorts and a t-shirt and you've got the floodlight, there's no sun beating down on you. It still may be 90 to 100 degrees, but that's much more bearable than 115 with the sun hitting you. Some plants really thrive over the summers. Actually, our grass, our Bermuda grass, grows so easily over summer. You only have to water it like once a week or even once every other week, I've heard, and it'll grow just fine. So know your water bill doesn't go through the roof for your grass. Trying to keep it green. It actually grows fairly easily here. And just a quick note, so golf rates in Phoenix over summer are usually like half off, and maybe sometimes even a fourth off for some of those super nice courses that are usually like $500 or $600 to play, like that TPC Scottsdale. I've heard of people getting on for like $100 a round or even less than that, which is a crazy price for that course. So yes, it's super hot outside, but if you can get one of those discounted tee times for like 7 in the morning and maybe be done by like noon, you could probably avoid the worst parts of the heat and just go play an awesome course. So a little quick tip for you there. And my last tip is to leave Phoenix. Yes, leave Phoenix if you can. Take a vacation and go somewhere where it is cooler. Flagstaff is the closest location. That's our mountain town. There's ski slopes up there. Sometimes it'll probably be 60 to 80 degrees in there. It's a really pretty area. Tons of evergreen trees all throughout. They've got some great restaurants and bars and a little downtown area. So if you can go up to Flagstaff, I wouldn't recommend leaving like at a Friday afternoon when everyone's leaving from work. It's crazy traffic. So if you can leave on a Thursday or Friday morning, you can beat some of that traffic. My wife and I are from California, so we do an annual trip over to the beach over summer, and that is amazing to go into the ocean, be in 80-degree weather. That is a huge blessing coming from 115 degrees. Or you could head down to Rocky Point, which is actually our closest beach, about 4 hours away. It's down in Mexico. It's just south of Arizona. So you could also go to that beach as well if you didn't want to drive the 6 hours to California. Well, if you've tuned in this long, then you really care about listening on how bad it is to live in Phoenix over summer. And yes, it's brutal, but honestly, you somewhat get used to it. You somewhat make those lifestyle changes and know it's coming. Really, the worst part is when it's like September and it should be cooling off like it is everywhere else and it's still way over 100 degrees. That's where like the mental fatigue really kicks in. But ultimately, I do enjoy living here. And actually, I'm a realtor here in this area. So if you had any questions about moving to Phoenix, I'd be happy to help you. 100% free. My phone and email are on the screen. I'd be happy to answer any questions. And I've got that free Moving to Phoenix guide that I mentioned, so feel free to reach out about that as well. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos about living in Phoenix.